Hey everybody, welcome to another DetailsPro video. I'm Sahan from DetailsPro. So I got a great piece of email feedback asking for a video on how to get your design into Xcode. So this is how to use that export SwiftUI code feature basically. So I'm going to do a quick video where with an already prepared design that has some of the interesting kind of features in it like an image. How do you set that up in Xcode? Now, there's a lot of nuance here and a lot of depth to go into. I'm going to keep it really surface level and just go, how do you get what we see here into Xcode so that designs that you mock up on the go, it's mind-blowing, can actually be used in real projects. It's been a really fun experience working on this. So I thank you guys for being a part of this and trying the app and getting this far. So here's the gist of what we're going to do. I've got this design set up. The fact that it already has an image is interesting because we're going to have to import an asset into our Xcode project, so you'll see that. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to set up an Xcode project, and then I'm going to find the file where we're going to copy the view code, like the SwiftUI code that we made here, and then we're going to load in the image, and by the end we should be able to launch a simulator and see basically what we have here. So all the work that we did on the image and the text over it and the the placeholder on the bottom, all that stuff should come true. So let's get started. I'm going to open up Xcode, step one. Step two, we're going to create, and let me scoot this out of the way, just so it's not in the way. Okay, step two, create a new Xcode project. Now, there's a lot of stuff that's about to happen that has to do with publishing your app and identifying it and all that stuff. I'm going to breeze over a lot of that because if you're just kind of trying to test out a design or maybe playing around and preparing to hand something off to someone, this stuff isn't that important. So there's also plenty of resources out there on this. If anyone would like for me to talk about this stuff, please just let me know. So I'm going to go into iOS, and then I'm going to go into new app. Okay, next. So again, you can see there's a bunch of stuff here that has to do with how DetailsPro is identified, but the key things here, you want to give it a name. So I'm going to say DetailsPro export code. Cool. This stuff is you can kind of put in whatever because this is just you either know what you want to do because you have an Xcode App Store Connect setup, or you're just playing around, so you can skip that. And then for interface, you want to make sure it's set to SwiftUI. So that is going to give us an app, and I'm going to save it in my downloads. That's going to give us an app that is set up to go for SwiftUI stuff. So right off the bat, actually, if you try to run it with a specific simulator, like I'm going to try to launch this in an iPhone 12 Pro, we should see how this goes. Also, I'm going to breeze over kind of a lot of what this stuff is in Xcode. If somebody wants me to make a more detailed video, please just let me know. I'm going to assume that you've opened Xcode before. And let's see what's going on here. Okay, so the simulator's kind of squished. I know that you can come over here and make it size itself. Okay, so we haven't done anything. We've got a basic Xcode project set up, and you can see it says hello world, and there's all this stuff here about content view previews. So let's just zero in on what we've got. So in DetailsPro, at least as of December 2020, you can only work on one design at a time, wink, and there might be more on that later, but you can only work on one design at a time, and loosely put, for the most part, you will probably often find that one design that you make in DetailsPro corresponds to one design in an Xcode project. Granted, you will probably break parts of that design into smaller pieces, but there will be some named thing in your Xcode project that is basically the thing that you designed. So I'm going to call this, let's call this like car view. It's, what's the word? It's like kind of the pattern that everybody, it's not idiomatic, but there's a word for it. This is sort of the trend. Like you normally name your views. It's conventional. Thank you. It is conventional to put view at the end of a name. So I think I just thanked myself for giving myself the word view. So that was weird. But here's what we're going to do. I'm going to change the name of content view to car view. It's still not going to have the right stuff in it. Then I'm going to copy the code and show you where to put it. And then we're going to get the image in there because the image is actually separate from the code. And don't worry, this is not going to be a big deal. So let's start with Xcode. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. in case it's too small. So I'm just doing Command plus, by the way, to make that happen. So here's what we want to do. Just clearing the view a little bit. Okay, in Xcode, in SwiftUI, you have these entities called views, and basically it's sort of like a sandwich, and like the actual part that you taste is this part. I'm going to try to go fast because I don't want to make this a 20-minute video. If somebody wants a 20-minute video, let me know and I will do one. But basically this is the part that you want to replace because, you know, if you just start off, all of this is sort of another metaphor. This stuff is like the box for a shipment and the actual goods go in here. You know what I mean? Like this stuff just identifies what's going on and helps Xcode and the platform understand where your view is. So as soon as you can see, as soon as I remove that hello world text, getting all these errors saying, hey, there's nothing, what did it say, declares blah, 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 whatever, right? So this is where we're gonna get our code in here. So let's see what we got. I'm just gonna go, so this is, I'm on my iPad over here, but this would work with DetailsPro for Mac, DetailsPro for iPhone. I'm actually gonna take advantage of the beautiful Apple clipboard syncing. So all I'm gonna do on my iPad is go here, hit copy, and then I should be able to hit paste. Yeah, crazy. Okay, so I'm gonna minimize my iPad for now. So we just got a bunch of, and so by the way, let me just do that one more time. What I did was I deleted everything between the curly brackets of body with the default view. And this is, again, I'm just starting with like the most basic example. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I will happily make a million more videos for all of you. So I just took that out and then I pasted in this. So again, as of December 2020, what DetailsPro gives you is that part, like the body part. I'm working on, by the way, some features. Let me know if these sound interesting. Export to SwiftUI Playground automatically. Step-by-step guide in here, how to create an Xcode project. Any of that sounds cool, let me know. But long story short, we just paste that in. So we should, a couple things should be true. We should be able to hit build again and it should not have an error. Amazing. So I did that by hitting Command B or by going up to product build. The other thing, I'm going to enable the preview here is, oh, not that button, I always do that. This one, show canvas. So this is going to give us the live SwiftUI preview, so we don't need to pop into the simulator. We should see here something that resembles what we had. Granted, we were also in dark mode on my iPad, so this might not be in dark mode. We can deal with that in a second, but let's see what we get here. I'm going to go ahead and quit this simulator for now. Okay, so it doesn't really look like it. Actually, I mean, okay, funny enough, that stuff is accurate, right? Let me pop this open over here, down here. There we go, right? That looks fine. It's not dark mode, and there's no image. So let's figure out what's going on there. So there are a few things about this that are important. First thing, let's do the easy thing. Let's put it in dark mode. So the easiest thing here, you can actually, I think there's a UI here. If you click and then you go to color scheme and you hit dark. And you'll see, by the way, that actually updated the relevant code over here. Again, if you want more info on that, let me know. I'm gonna just keep going for the people who have asked for this specific question. So there are a ton of ways to get images into an app. One of the ways is to include images in the actual app bundle, like actually put JPEGs into your project and then refer to those JPEGs or PNGs or PDFs or whatever by their name. So that's going to be the method we're going to go with here. So I have this, and by the way, why isn't this Aston Martin picture showing? Well, here is that image background. It's a background image with an aspect ratio fill on that vertical stack. On the V stack. So this is what DetailsPro does right now. It just gives you a placeholder to replace with your image name. In future versions, by the way, I'm going to make it a lot easier to download the images. Right now, it's not easy to download images off of your media library onto your device. That'll happen. But yeah, so here's what we got to do. We just got to plop the image in and then change the name of my image to whatever we called that. So I've got the image in question here. Let's change that name because that's not going to work. Let's call it Aston. Save. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go over into assets. We're going to introduce this image first, then we're going to refer to it. So all I got to do, drag it in here, boom. Now, the text that you see right here is the text that you can use to refer to that image in your code. This is just one of the many ways. So now all I got to do, I'm going to go back to content view, which is that initial view that we get, and I just got to change this to Aston. And that should be it. Let's see, do I need to resume this? Okay, so there's that. Now that does not look right at all. So I'm curious what could be going wrong there. There might be something that's, you know, honestly, this is interesting. There's probably something that's going wrong with my code export because whatever, let's see if I can fix this here. Do we just need, what happens if we go like this? Let me make sure this is updating live. Yeah. So this is that VStack. It has a frame. It's only supposed to go to there. If I do, maybe I need one here, but that's not, so I'll come back to this. Oh, I know exactly what it is. I know 100% what it is. This image needs to have, so I'm going to fix this. This is actually a DetailsPro bug. This needs to have resizable on it. Yeah. So that is a great bug, and I will fix that. But basically, let me undo this. So if you run into this exact issue, by the way, resizable, that should be working in other places where you just do a normal image. If it's not, I will look into that and I will fix that too in the export. But oddly enough, and it's probably for a really good reason, in SwiftUI you actually need to specify if you want an image to be able to resize at all. So actually it's a pretty cool feature because you know if it's going to stay its own size or resize. But long story short, all we needed to do here, all that's missing, is a dot resizable on that image. So with that, we should be pretty much back to where we were. Now, I guess a couple things that are different. You can see here, we've got these edges that aren't correct, and that is so now we're getting into like moving the design into development. So hopefully you had your questions answered with just how we got this far, right? For the rest of the video, I'm just going to clean this up and figure out, what's different. This would be what your developer would do, or if you are a developer yourself, this is where you take what you brainstormed and you give it the last touches. So we want this image to go all the way to the top. So I'm going to declare that this entire vertical stack ignores the top edge. And now it should want to, an extra space. Now it should want to go, okay, so now it goes all the way to the top. That's great. The other thing I'm noticing is it looks like the opacity for this text didn't copy over. That is probably a DetailsPro bug. Because if you look over here, I'll look into what is up with that. If you look at this horizontal stack, where it's here, this one, this horizontal stack with Brookfield, Wisconsin is supposed to, somewhere, let me open up the iPad. Somewhere we have an opacity, opacity 66. It's supposed to be font, footnote, foreground color, black, opacity 66. So I will look into why that's not happening. It might be a really simple bug where opacity is just never being put into code. Super easy to fix. But so that is why it's not gray. So I'm going to just add that because that should have worked. .66. Okay, and then the only other difference is like, what is up with this difference in height? Oh, I think it might be the fact that we're just on different phones. This is an iPhone 12 mini. So what do we got here? Let's just make this a mini. In a second, I'm going to check the sizes of everything to see that it looks right. But okay, so again, that looks different. I'm unsure what it is. I'm gonna just check some things here. So the first, okay, so that is probably what it is. If you see, when I highlight the vertical stack, Um, I'm finding a lot of interesting things here. So if you click on the vertical stack, you see that the bounding box is that. That looks like if the image were cropped there, it looks like it would be exactly in line with the design. What I think I'm learning right now is that the code export for the background images is a little bit underbaked, and I'm finding a lot of good bugs right now that I'm going to fix. But um, there's a few things here. I think one of them might be that this just needs to be clipped. Yeah. So, um, and you know what? I actually, this is the funny thing. I'm pretty sure when this Swift UI happens here, that happens, the clipping happens. It's just missing from the code export. So thank you to the person who asked for this video because you have made me find 3 bugs in code export. If any of that went over your head or like it was confusing, please don't even worry about it. I'm gonna fix it, and it's I want to make all these things as easy as possible so that you can focus on what the actual design is, and take advantage of Swift UI to get there. But at this point, I think we look like really similar, right? We've got the image, we've got the text looking similar. Um, I don't know. This looks a little bit lighter. I think that's just because it's coming through QuickTime. But yeah, so that was getting a design from Details Pro into Xcode. I just want to review 2 features that I'm working on, and I'm curious if you're interested, let me know, is being able to generate a SwiftUI playground out of your design right away, just like with one tap. And then also offering a step-by-step guide within Details Pro for migrating your design into Xcode. So like on a single design, you'd go, share to Xcode, and it would say, okay, click, 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 click. And then when you do those things, copy this text. And then it would say, add these images because you had those images in the design. Yeah, so that I think covers it. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know if you'd like to see anything else. And as always, I'm so appreciative of all your feedback. I'm so excited to be on this journey with you guys. I know that sounds kind of like, cheesy, but honestly, it's such an interesting design tool, and I'm so in love with how you can use it to stack text and use the Apple Human Interface guidelines so directly that I'm just really glad this exists. I'm glad there's other people that want to use it. And there are so many questions rolling around my head on where to take it and how to preserve and protect what it is and take it down the path that the best path for it. So, yeah, anything, if you guys have any wild dreams or fantasies for I wish I could do this with it, granted, we probably can't do all of them, but like, I really want to hear what they are because this is such an interesting new territory in general. But yeah, thank you very much and talk to you soon.